You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Missouri libraries may no longer have to worry about losing state funding.
And Joplin police put extra patrols on the streets. We'll explain why.
And it is cold out there this morning, and unfortunately, this isn't as cold as it's looking to get. We'll talk about the forecast and a freeze watch coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Kansas appears likely to keep giving voters 3 days after polls close to return mail ballots to county election officials. Governor Laura Kelly vetoed a Republican bill to eliminate the grace period. The GOP-controlled legislature created the grace period in 2017 as U.S. Postal Service mail delivery was slowing down. But many Republicans rethought the policy as baseless election conspiracy theories circulated widely following the 2020 election. When the bill passed the legislature, it did not have the 2/3 majority needed to override a veto. Missouri's proposed budget again contains state funding for public libraries and no longer prohibits any spending towards diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Senate Appropriations Committee made those changes as well as others to the House-approved budget. It now goes to the full Senate for debate. Governor Mike Parson's proposed budget initially included around $4.5 million for public libraries. However, that money was removed by the House, citing a lawsuit filed to overturn a state law that bans some books from library shelves as the reason for the cut.
Well, we've got ourselves a cold start across the area. The sun now starting to rise from our camera at 7th and Range Line, looking good. Hey, you can see there's still a few clouds out there. We're at 41 in Joplin with a calm breeze, and we've got a cold start across the entire area. 39 in Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, 38 in Nevada, 39 Parsons, 37 Chanute, 41 Miami, and 44 in Neosho. And these temperatures this morning are upwards of 20 to 35 degrees colder now than what they were 24 hours ago, so a pretty big change. We go through the morning, we'll have some clouds increasing from the west, so mostly cloudy skies through the morning, up to about 60 by 11. And then as we head into the afternoon, those clouds turn around, they move on out of here, and they'll start to clear out. Bit breezy, not too bad, and temperatures in the mid-60s, so cooler, but closer to normal, believe it or not, just not as warm as it has been the last several days. We'll hang on to some breezy conditions, a few clouds overnight, and we'll make it down to a cold 40 degrees tonight. And heading into the weekend, this blue on the map, these counties, this is a freeze watch kicking in tomorrow evening, running until Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And here's why. It is going to be colder this weekend. 56 on Saturday, well below average, 33 for the low, 59 on Sunday, and 41 for the low. And as you see, we remain below average for the first half of next week with rain and thunderstorm chances Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We try to close in on the 60s toward the end of the week, and then we see additional thunderstorm chances by Friday and Saturday. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Oklahoma authorities say 3 people died in storms Wednesday night that caused extensive damage across the central part of the state. Those storms produced up to a dozen tornadoes, some of them strong. Now, this is video from the town of Shawnee. Homes there were destroyed and schools heavily damaged. Governor Kevin Stitt visited Shawnee on Thursday to tour the damage. He says he's considering an emergency declaration to help with recovery.
So they're just assessing all the damage. We've already got engineers on site, assessing the buildings right now and all the things that were damaged. And so anyway, we'll put it back together, and I'm looking at declaring an emergency declaration here for these 4 counties, and so our team's working hard to get all the local communities all the support that they need.
Well, the Joplin Police Department puts extra patrol officers on the roads yesterday, watching for impaired drivers. Police are especially vigilant on April 20th, and 420 is often associated with cannabis use. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to Joplin Police Department and a local defense attorney about marijuana DUIs.
Today, going forward for several days, a contingent of extra officers that are on the street that are specifically targeting impaired drivers.
Joplin Police Department wants to remind you that driving while high is dangerous and illegal.
It isn't just related to alcohol. It could be marijuana use, it could be methamphetamine, it could be prescription drugs. There's a number of different things that could put an individual in an intoxicated condition.
Breathalyzers are usually the go-to when it comes to identifying how intoxicated someone is on alcohol. However, there are some issues when it comes to marijuana.
The problem is that with marijuana and its derivatives, there is no, I want to say, quantified level at which a person is considered to be intoxicated.
Officers are trained to identify if someone's under the influence of marijuana, but sometimes that's not enough.
So I can't get into the individual specifics for each one, but we've gone through and offered additional training, especially with recent changes regarding marijuana.
We know that THC can stay in someone's body for 48 hours and even sometimes as long as 2 weeks. So the mere presence of THC doesn't really establish that someone is intoxicated on THC or that they're impaired by THC.
If you're arrested for DUI, it could cost you a pretty penny, even if it's your first time.
The actual economic cost could be anywhere from probably starting at about $2,500 up to, the sky's the limit.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Captain William Davis says there are options for getting home when you're intoxicated through ride shares, taxis, or good old walking. Up next, the maker of Narcan looks to get it under $50.
And later, MLB The Show 2023 gets an update that includes a league that is historically important. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back, but first, here is another live look from Mercy Park in Joplin.
In Health Watch this morning, the maker of Narcan nasal spray is working to lower the cost of the life-saving product. Emergent said in a statement on Thursday that it's aiming for an out-of-pocket price of less than $50 for its Narcan now that the Food and Drug Administration allows for over-the-counter sales. Its goal is to match the price that government agencies, nonprofits, and first responders pay. The wholesale price is $125. Pricing for over-the-counter Narcan will be left to individual retailers. Emergent aims to have Narcan available online and in stores by late summer. LGBTQ advocates file a lawsuit against the state of Tennessee for its ban on gender-affirming care for young transgender people. Thursday, several groups filed this suit in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee in support of 3 families with transgender children and a Memphis doctor. This after the state's governor signed a law in March that prohibits gender-affirming care for transgender youth and requires those who are currently receiving care to end it at a certain point. Less than 1 in 5 eligible Americans have received the recommended updated COVID-19 vaccine, but additional doses of the bivalent booster have been given the green light for some adults by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and now Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Mandy Gaither breaks down the new guidance, what it means for you.
Across the U.S., COVID-19 cases, deaths, and hospitalizations continue to trend down, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
One of the reasons why things are so much better now than where they were a year or two ago is because almost everybody now has some level of protection.
Dr. Frank Esper with Cleveland Clinic says the protection is either through a prior infection or vaccines, but early data suggests protection has started to wane from the bivalent booster, which health experts say protects against the original strain of the COVID-19 virus, Omicron, and its spinoffs. That's why the FDA has updated its guidance for the most vulnerable to the disease, allowing people 65 and older older to get an additional dose of the Pfizer or Moderna bivalent vaccines now, as long as it's been 4 months since their last one. And most people with certain degrees of immunocompromise can get a second dose of a bivalent vaccine at least 2 months after the last one.
What we're trying to do with our vaccination response is to make sure that everybody's antibody levels, remain protective, so that they can fight off the infection.
For immunocompromised children ages 6 months through 4 years, eligibility for an additional bivalent vaccine will depend on the vaccine previously received, so talk to a doctor. Another big change is that most unvaccinated people may now receive a single dose of a bivalent vaccine rather than multiple doses of the original single-strain vaccines.
For everyone not covered by the changes, the FDA says it intends to make decisions about future vaccinations after receiving recommendations on the fall strain composition from its advisory committee in June.
Oh, we've got ourselves a cold start across the 4 states, but we are getting a little more sunshine out there. We'll tell you how cold it's going to get and give you details on a freeze watch when the KOAM Morning News returns. Well, a monumental voyage to the stars had its thunder stolen unexpectedly by a star turn from a furry photo bomber. Jeremy Roth explains in Take a Look at This.
According to the European Space Agency, a recent South American rocket launch was the culmination of decades of vision and ambition, pushing the boundaries of science in order to answer humankind's greatest... Wait a minute, was that a sloth? That was a sloth! What the world? Yep, a sloth, which happened to steal the show from ESA's historic JUICE rocket mission to Jupiter by appearing on a highlight reel leading up to the launch in French Guiana. The fuzzy photobomber only graced the screen for a few seconds before the moment of blastoff happened, but it was all anyone could talk about afterwards on social media. Heck, even the ESA agreed with claims the sloth was the real star of the show. The mammal's mammoth moment is a big one for the slow-moving species, whose star turns are no longer limited to nature videos and Disney movies. And that's got to put a smile on their furry faces. Anytime now. Let's move on. Speaking of rocket launches and photobombs, an already dazzling display of the northern lights over Alaska was kicked up a notch when a bizarre spiral in space graced the video feed. There's no real mystery here. Experts say the swirl was almost certainly an exhaust stream from a nearby SpaceX rocket launch. It also wasn't the first atmospheric phenomenon captured by the all-sky camera at the Poker Flat Research Range facility, but this high-flying highlight from an already stellar interstellar view was just too cool not to share.
Well, I don't know. This is something very interesting, very cool. I love the sloth. And of course, those SpaceX rockets, man, they make it look like there's just a galaxy flying by the sky when they take off. Well, we don't have any galaxies flying by today, though. We are on the chilly side. MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line is looking pretty decent so far. You can see we've got that sunshine out there. We are getting sunshine on the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. We'll have a few more clouds, and there you can see them as the day goes on, and then they'll clear up again this afternoon. We're at 41 in Joplin with a few clouds out there, calm winds. As we look at temperatures across the area, they are cold. We've got 39 Fort Scott, Iola, Parsons, 37 Chanute, 41 Chatopa, Miami, and 44 in Neosho. And that puts us ranging anywhere from roughly 20 to 35 degrees colder now than what we were 24 hours ago, because boy, that cold front did its thing. Again, increasing clouds through the morning, mostly cloudy skies near 60 by 11. Then this afternoon we'll turn around and start to clear out. Be a little bit breezy and cooler than where we have been, but this is about average as we head for highs in the mid-60s. And another cold night ahead of us, dropping back down to right around 40 under partly cloudy skies and remaining just a little bit breezy. We still have that freeze watch that goes into effect late Saturday and runs through Sunday at 9 a.m. for all of these counties in purple, and that is because of how cold it is going to get. So how cold is it going to get? Let's take a look. 56 tomorrow, Now keep in mind, this is close to average. This is about 10 degrees or so off pace for average around the area, and down to 33 tomorrow night. So that's why we have that freeze watch. So we've been telling you today's the day. If you've got some plants that are sensitive, make sure you get them covered, brought inside just in case. We're only going to be 59 Sunday. We remain below average through the majority of next week. Shower, thunderstorm chances Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Cooler temperatures during the day keep our overnight lows chilly as well. We try to rebound a bit Friday, and then we'll see showers and thunderstorms building in Friday into our Saturday, and that drops our temperatures right back down a bit. So aside from Friday and Friday night, it's going to be a pretty chilly week ahead of us and a very cold weekend in store for us as well. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this, but first, here's another live look from Mercy Park. Well, a new baseball video game features the first ever inclusion of players and teams from the Negro Leagues.
Rick Damagella has the story.
Swing and a ball lifted in the air, left field, pretty well struck.
MLB The Show 23 naturally has Major League Baseball's current teams and players, but this season marks a franchise first involving the sport's history.
Two pitching combatants are going at it. One was the name of the legendary Satchel Paige. The other, a young player from Cuba by the name of Montevideo.
The new season of the game features the debut of players and teams from the Negro Leagues, complete with commentary from Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, Missouri.
This platform, by far and away, supersedes anything that we could have ever done to drive kids through our doors to kind of gain an understanding of what the Negro Leagues represented.
The Negro Leagues are a very important part of not only baseball history, but also Black history and American history. And we have been asked for years, when are you going to introduce Negro League players into the game? So we needed to figure out an interactive way to introduce them into the game to be able to educate, enlighten, and inspire.
The result is the Storylines game mode.
By the time John Donaldson gets to the Kansas City Monarchs, he is really beyond his prime, but don't get it twisted.
More than a pinch hit, Storylines content is planned for multiple seasons.
The fact that we conceivably now have 5 years to continue to introduce more unsung stars of the Negro Leagues, people that you should know, but you don't necessarily know them unless you are a hardcore baseball historian. Some of these names you won't know, but it doesn't lessen how great they were. His skill set was incredible. A great hitter who you could rely on to come in and get the job done on the mound as well.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Well, MLB The Show 23 is playable now on Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo game consoles, and certainly an absolutely impressive take for this game, and it looks like it's going to be very exciting for this next season of the game.
And don't forget, this is like a day trip destination type thing too. If you want to learn more about the Negro Leagues, museums in Kansas City.
Yeah, don't have to go too terribly far. Well, you don't have to go too terribly far from your TV, because we've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. Miami Public Schools announced the establishment of a campus police department. The campus police department will be staffed by CLEAT certified law enforcement officers who will work in collaboration with the local law enforcement to provide a safe learning environment for all students. With headquarters at the Miami High School, the department will include resource officers at the high school, junior high school, and Nichols Upper Elementary, as well as CLEAT certified armed security guards at all lower elementary sites. On Thursday, Black Rain Ordnance in Neosho, Missouri celebrated law enforcement with a day out on the shooting range. The firearms business is one of the largest manufacturers in Neosho. Every 3 or 4 months, they invite local agencies and law enforcement officers to check out the facilities to see how they manufacture firearms. And it turned into sort of a law enforcement appreciation day. The manufacturer offers more than just firearms sales for agencies.
Individuals can trade in guns, but also as an agency, Agencies can trade in old duty guns that maybe they're trying to phase out, and then they can also trade in evidence guns or confiscated guns that have been adjudicated by the courts, so that there's some sort of disposal process in order for those firearms.
Black Rain Ordinance is at I-49 and Iris Road, south of Neosho. On Thursday, Freeman Health System recognized its graduating nurses. The hospital held a signing day for 32 nurses on their way to becoming licensed. The nurses still need to complete an exam, but afterwards will work for Freeman as registered nurses. Officials say the recognition is important.
We take care of patients before and after surgery. We get them ready for surgery, and then we make sure everything is good after they have anesthesia.
So a cardiology unit, we're just taking care of people, usually like heart caths, CABG patients, anything to do with the heart and like blood flow.
The event was held at the North End Zone facility at Missouri Southern. On Thursday, Neosho County Community College hosted its first ever NC3 National Letter of Intent signing. NC3 is the National Coalition of Certification Centers, and it mirrors the NCAA's National Signing Day for athletes. Signing Day is for students with plans to enroll in some of the college's technical programs. Joseph Tapia signed for electrical and industrial maintenance technology, but he says he didn't just sign for his career.
Well, we've got ourselves a cold start out there. We're also watching clouds beginning to increase, and they'll do so through the morning hours. 41 degrees in Joplin right now. Calm breeze out there. Chilly start for all of us. 41 Iola, 37 Chanute, 41 Chatopa, 42 Miami, and 44 in Neosho. That puts us again upwards of 20 to 35 degrees colder now than where we were 24 hours ago. We get our day started. Increasing clouds, mostly cloudy through the morning, 60 by 11. Then we head into the afternoon, and those clouds will eventually begin to clear out. Will be a bit breezy and actually close to normal, mid-60s for highs. As we head into this evening, we are looking to be cold yet again. Clear skies, a bit breezy, and clouds picking up a bit. We're talking partly cloudy skies overnight, dropping back down to a pretty chilly low of 40 degrees. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A deadly string of tornadoes in Oklahoma is now blamed for at least 3 deaths and many other injuries. And overnight, severe storms pounded parts of Texas, causing even more disruption. Bradley Blackburn has the latest on the dangerous weather.
On the ground in Cole, Oklahoma, residents got a closer look at what little was left.
Yeah, it's material things, but it's still, it's your heart. Your family's worked hard for all this. It's hard.
Homes were left in pieces and lives upended after at least 8 confirmed tornadoes tore across central Oklahoma. Officials warned there could be more fatalities as they combed through rubble. All students and staff were accounted for at Oklahoma Baptist University, where students had to take shelter as a twister hit.
We heard it go over us. I immediately started panicking.
Late Thursday, more storms hit Texas, where a tornado touched down in the city of Tyler. In Austin, heavy rain flooded streets and trapped some drivers. At least 8 water rescues were reported.
Their car cut off and started floating. I floated with it for a little bit because I didn't know what to do. I kind of panicked.
And in San Antonio, storms sent people scrambling just as a 10-day fiesta got underway downtown. But the celebration went on inside.
Never gonna dampen my spirit.
The first day of outdoor events was canceled, and officials are now monitoring the weather. Forecasters say more severe storms are possible in the South and the Mississippi Valley through the weekend. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Well, some 50,000 people in Texas were without power this morning, and that's according to poweroutage.us. And at least 11,000 were still offline in Oklahoma as the storm cleanup continues. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. We look at your big 3 with Shannon Becker back in studio.
And we've got another look at that chilly forecast across the area and how much colder it's going to get as we head into the weekend. We'll be back with more after this, but first, here's another live look from Mercy Park in Joplin.
Welcome back. It's time to close out the week with our very own Shannon Becker and his big 3 stories. Good morning.
Hello, live and local. What's happening where you live this week? Number 3, Joplin News First. Last Saturday, big storms formed in southeast Kansas and then dropped hail in Barton County. My friend Nova took that picture. This is my friend Paige. Huge hailstones falling onto her car and her house. They're building a house and it damaged their roof and their garage doors. They haven't even moved in yet. They have to file some insurance on that already. Another picture from my friend Nova. Those hailstones, I haven't heard anything of any animals being killed, but before I have heard of those kind of hailstones killing a lot of chickens and small animals. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First, live and local where you live in the big 3. This was in Galena the other night. A man shot and killed on Columbus Street. Our number 2 story. Man Levi Porter was declared deceased on the scene. Sheriff David Groves told us. Columbus and Vine. We were there live, and a man taken into custody, charged the next day with second-degree murder.
Have they released any details of what led up to the shooting?
Not yet. There was a disagreement. We do know, not sure necessarily what that disagreement was over. More details. I hope that we'll find out more possibly today or early next week. He's now in the Cherokee County Jail. Our number 1 story, this is a long one here. An Amber Alert Saturday evening was issued statewide in Missouri for a girl missing out of Sarcoxie, a 7-year-old girl. So what occurred was that green vehicle there, an Amber Alert for a 7-year-old girl, a mother had allowed a man she only identified as Matt take her daughter and her car about 10 minutes away, she said, to pick up a puppy. And she said they were gone for a couple of hours before she contacted police. This is the only picture that we really had, a picture of this guy getting into the car. And they issued the Amber Alert. Well, he was taken into custody as he was coming back into Missouri from Oklahoma. Bizarre, right? We were actually there when he was taken into custody at the Petro truck stop at Exit 4 by the Joplin Police Department. Then, a couple of days later, the mother was taken into custody. She was arrested for child endangerment. As we said, letting your child go with a man you only knew as Matt. So, family now is looking for someone to want to buy that car for $8,000, maybe, I don't know, possibly to get her out of jail. She's in Jasper County Jail on a bond, a large bond there, $25,000 bond. He's also in the Jasper County Jail as well, as those 2 cases separate, obviously. They're still developing more information while the child is in state custody.
What's it, a Ford Fiesta?
Ford Fiesta. But they struck a deer, so there is some damage.
Okay, so real quickly, we have a bonus story too.
Yep, Sarcoxie, a good story from Sarcoxie. How about this? The Cave and Spring. It's been covered up for years. People didn't even know that it was there if they lived in Sarcoxie. Now it's part of the town, the Sarcoxie Cave and Spring. It's open to the public, sunrise to sunset. In the 1830s, when the town was settled, it was a big part of the town because you had fresh water. And then Center Creek is close by. It's a great place to take pictures, just kind of chill.
Now, you can't go into the cave,
No,
though.
the cave is sealed off, but you kind of peek in there. It's where the Arkansas darterfish is, the endangered Ozark cave fish. You can read all about it on our website. And I think it's really, really neat. So check it out. Freshwater, the Sarcoxie Cave and Spring. It's a hidden treasure in the Ozarks, a place you should visit.
All right, a little day trip destination.
Don't you like
in your back door?
my fancy voice like that?
Of course. Well, it's always a pleasure. We'll send you out to go bring us some more live
and local.
Local.
Yeah, live, local, and breaking. Yep, there you go.
Yes, for sure. We will be right back.
All right, taking a look outside from the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking back to the south. Plenty of traffic out there, but thankfully clear roads to drive on. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, and some sunshine out there as well. But despite that, it's still quite cold, and we've got those clouds continuing to increase across the area. We're at 41 in Joplin with a calm breeze, and as we look at temperatures across the region, it is cold. We got 42 Pittsburgh, 39 Parsons, 37 in Chanute, 45 Miami and Neosho, 46 Monette, and 41 in Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. And these temperatures this morning are anywhere from 20 to 35 degrees colder now than what they were 24 hours ago, because that cold front, boy, it really did its job. We'll have the clouds increase, so mostly cloudy skies through the morning, about 60 by 11. But as we head into the afternoon, it'll be a bit breezy. Clouds will start to clear out, and we'll go to mostly sunny skies, looking at highs in the mid-60s for us today. As we head into this evening, we'll have a few more clouds overnight, still a bit breezy and cold yet again, dropping back down to a low of 40. And heading into Sunday, Saturday night into Sunday, we have these blue highlighted counties. This is a freeze watch that runs until 9 a.m. Sunday, kicking in officially late tomorrow night. So let's take a look at why we have that freeze watch. We're up to 56, only 56 tomorrow, so much colder, well below average. 33 for the low Saturday night, so make sure your plants are ready for this. 59 on Sunday, 41 for the low. We stay below average for the majority of next week with some shower and thunderstorm chances Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. With these cooler highs means colder overnight lows. Our best day temperature-wise is Friday and Friday night, but as you can see, we cool back down and we have additional thunderstorm chances Friday into Saturday of next week. That is a check of your forecast. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a check of Consumer Watch.
Well, SpaceX's Starship, the most powerful rocket ever built, exploded just minutes into its maiden test flight. Rocket was unpiloted at the time. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk tweeted a congrats to the team for the test launch and said the company, quote, learned a lot, end quote, for the next test launch in a few months. A growing number of Americans are struggling to pay for car loans as both vehicle prices and average monthly payments are soaring to all-time highs. Shelley Malashi has what's behind the trend and what you can do to get a better deal if you're in the market for a new car.
A 1-2 punch for people looking to buy a car. Prices are soaring and loan rates are the highest they've been in more than 15 years, according to new data from Edmunds.com. The average annual percentage rate, APR, on financing a new car jumped from 4.5% in March 2022 to 7% last month. Economists say those higher interest rates are due in part to the Fed taking action to tame high inflation.
That also is going to be very financially painful for a lot of households. So the financial pain and suffering that households are going through, that's not going to go away quickly.
Higher interest rates translate to higher monthly car payments. In March, the average monthly payment for financing a new car hit $730, the highest on record, according to Edmunds. It's not much better for financing a used car. That average monthly payment is now $556. That's up $147 from June 2020. And surprisingly, there is an increasing number of car owners paying even more than that. According to Edmunds data, about 17% of people with new car or truck loans are now spending $1,000 or more per month, a percentage that's roughly tripled in 4 years. So what can you do? 1, work on your credit score to raise your chances of getting a lower interest rate on your car loan. And 2, economists say if you can wait to buy, do it.
It's really important that you watch out for your debt. How much do you owe? Because if you lose your job or you get your hours cut back, your pay cut, then it's going to make it harder to service that debt, pay on that debt.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Chris wants me to sing this line, but I just can't do it.
All right, well.
All right, well, the hills are alive with color in parts of the western United States. You know what I'm talking about. After years of drought, a rare super bloom of flowers is happening.
CBS's Danya Bacchus has more on this spring phenomenon.
From the hillsides of California to the deserts of Arizona, Mother Nature is putting on a show.
The hills are completely painted with flowers, and I really love that.
Orange, yellow, and purple wildflowers, creating what's known as a super bloom, are blanketing fields and valleys, a sight so spectacular, thousands are flocking to capture it.
The glory of everything here, everything blooming, and the sun is shining down today, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
The record amount of rain and snow that pummeled California at the beginning of the year not only helped to ease a dire 3-year drought, it also made conditions ripe for millions of dormant seeds.
This is like once in a decade bloom that happens, and we are driving in here from San Francisco to see this place. This is just wild. I mean, it's just beautiful.
The explosion of flowers is so vibrant, some areas can be seen from space.
It's nature at its best, so you have to seize the moment while it's here and go look at it.
The last big bloom was 2019. That's when parks and trails in California and Arizona saw a massive influx of visitors. Officials expect this year to be no different. One California city has closed its canyon to avoid chaos and preserve the flowers.
People of Disneyland-sized crowds were seeking to experience nature. They trampled the very habitat that they placed so high in regard and sought to enjoy.
Experts are asking visitors to enjoy by looking, not touching, so they don't doom the bloom. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, since visitors are being urged to observe the flowers from a safe distance, California State Parks Department has a live stream of a poppy reserve for you to view the super bloom.
And that's certainly going to be something nice to look at because it's going to be chill. It's chilly now. It's going to get colder. I want to see that super bloom, be reminded that it is still spring. And I mean, it's not going to get that cold, but it's going to be cold enough over the next couple of days that we actually have a freeze watch out. MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line is looking all right so far. We got some sunshine out there, traffic moving right along. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. Well, it may have actually frozen because this traffic is not moving along, but I'm sure they have been this morning. Right now, got those clouds increasing. We're at 41 in Joplin, calm wind, and we'll have those clouds continue to increase as we head into the late morning hours, rather. 42 Pittsburgh, 37 Chanute, 43 Chitopa, 45 in Miami, Neosho, and 41 Carthage, Lamar, Nevada. Again, these temperatures from 20 to 35 degrees colder now than where we were 24 hours ago, so a big cool down. Clouds increase, mostly cloudy through the morning, up to about 60 by 11. We head into this afternoon. We're going to be cooler, but about average. Mid-60s, clouds will start to clear this afternoon. We'll be a bit on the breezy side. As we head into this evening, it's another cold night, down to 40. Mostly clear skies and a few clouds overnight, and again, a little bit on the breezy side. And here's that freeze watch. The counties in purple here kicks in officially late Saturday night and runs until 9 o'clock Sunday morning. And here's why, because it's going to get cold. In fact, well below average tomorrow, only 56, down to 33 for the low, 59 on Sunday, 41 for the low, and we stay below average as we get the next work week started as well. And on top of that, not only is it going to be chilly out, we got shower and thunderstorm chances Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So it is much needed rain, and thankfully no strong or severe storms expected but some shower activity keeping us cool, and that keeps our overnight lows cool as well as they hang out in the 40s. We try and warm a little toward the end of the week, and that gets kicked down by more thunderstorm chances Friday into Saturday. So be prepared for a chilly several days ahead of us. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The state of Missouri launched a new campaign aimed at educating parents about candy-flavored tobacco products that could be appealing to kids. The program is called Tobacco is Changing. 2021 Missouri Youth Risk Behavioral Survey shows 40% of Missouri high schoolers have tried an e-cigarette. Kansas appears likely to keep giving voters 3 days after polls close to return mail ballots to county election officials. Governor Laura Kelly vetoed a Republican bill to eliminate the grace period. The GOP-controlled legislature created the grace period in 2017 as U.S. Postal Service mail delivery was slowing down. Now, Missouri's proposed budget again contains state funding for public libraries and no longer prohibits any spending towards diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. The Senate Appropriations Committee made those changes as well as others to the House-approved budget. It will now go to the full Senate for debate.
We've got ourselves a chilly start to the day. We'll have clouds clearing by late afternoon, mid-60s for highs, a little bit breezy. A little breezy as we head into the evening and overnight hours. We'll have a few extra clouds tonight, partly cloudy, dropping down to 40 for our overnight low. Freeze watch Saturday night into Sunday morning. We're only at the upper 50s for us on Saturday, and down to 33 Saturday night into Sunday. Then we're staying below average Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with shower and thunderstorm chances.
We're back on air. Remember your kindergarten
No.
days?
Kind of.
I had to take a nap every day. We only went to half
A
day,
little
but
bit. We should be having naps now. It's what we're trying to do.
This is when you got to enjoy nap time without being
Yeah,
judged. Yes.
absolutely.
Enjoy
You can-
your creative side. You got to color.
Well, see, today we're taking part because Friday, this is the perfect day to reflect on it as it's National Kindergarten Day.
We celebrate all the curiosity and interest-driven learning at that heart of kindergarten teaching every April 21st.
It's the birthday of German educator Friedrich Froebel, who started the first kindergarten in the 1800s. At the time, it was a play and activity institute to help young children transition from home to school.
Today, nearly all states require school districts to offer some form of kindergarten for 5-year-olds.
I remember we had half day. You were talking about you had half day kindergarten. I don't remember taking naps in my half day. I don't really remember
But
for
we had
sure.
to.
But
Like, I think we only met for like 2.5 hours, and included was a nap.
yeah,
Teachers need a break.
with all of us young kids so full of energy, they certainly do. And I don't know about you, I had a great kindergarten teacher.
Oh,
She
I
was wonderful.
loved it.
Yeah.
Mrs. Siebold.
I had
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor at Cecil Floyd. Man, she was awesome. Well, we want to thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will take a nap and then be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.